de mga soldados sa Girelsay. Ikuti alteal gotulo bukusus raibudun maraklay marubukul belaw pilung maybe raklay marmasi belaw. President of Senate marukul senator, speaker marukul other house, governors, legislators, marbek la other belaw. Tukubet susuri del mortir rogul ngara ablur ang ayang al moro hocharigi mga raikla ablur berada ransis. Egida gorabto ka ay se Miss Raklay malungil total le gorgao dire Miss Omtilo Miss Sungyama no sé ama Mr. Ngawakla no sé ngartial al total u comtera a media gida ngartial u bangiadre al total ngartial press conference la government ngari Minister Jenkins education ngari Minister Aitarora state Minister Matura MHRCTD Minister Erbalam Ministry gida health diregal ngartiang Attorney General omtera Vice President material tukubet sergester gida ngaria Director Targong Special Assistant Tapasul ngara Ministry of Finance Director Paloy ngara Officer gida Airport Immigration Director ngaria Executive Director Election Commission Sherwin Yamaguchi, Madrigal Director Curtis Elovatara Bureau of Public Safety. Another order than more than meeting Makora the instead of going into detail legal Garos el Bodosad, Evadik Teal el Masa Director of Public Safety. Mabal so they are forced to issue a Minsal headliner Tiabelo Tial el Tamarabo es el PIDC building. Egida this other reassure other bello as egida daga kandon ang idil behavioral wise. Mangdim na swag alaskara director mal biskida update ra investigation no asika digirel ger engare oriol girel. Dirigal dictelise director ulen dirigal ngartiang lari executive order number 489 el bedasani ni eli. Etia coordinated border management. If you want to say something about that, also can you share. But Kadim Sodit Tial Togor Tial Shuri. It's where, it's where.
Utah President, Ministers, Madam Attorney General, Magmiro directors, media, beklado ng atekto, real tutao. So the ISL incident may happen on a Thursday, Friday morning. Was saying drive-by shooting. Say the police ordering it lang. Tumnam tigil sa pellet, nagtamar sila boys. So kadang yung sending ayele air gun. So currently the investigation, CID natural get a hold and get manager at PIDC and to give it take time. Lumbas kamam sel video ra CCTV tir. I get a government tangara tasel to get more armid, bangara mobile top side sort of outsider say get the area learning cell incidents. So there are old digger. Adi del ngarengan. So adi sure other velas nega. Olklar miu. Akti on tigel mora media. Lo asem aware molto da news. Please call a public Bureau of Public Safety. Bodaga nga aware mo molto da garbage. Particularly gel blue lagal news molto da newspaper deal adi. Agil ako siya kung des so tra newspaper dir. Anyway, malunod nga lase boltar ngud gid ma kamam ada blabulis ma media ma blur bela rogui. Tia blur ad rogui. Masumral somi lo nga sewer gid. Ete beto kay nga sel lo rogui. Bolso be gut muklitar blur. Le lage kom tigida ko ra observation ha Mal quasi territory arbekla. Bring about sisbra blimiuma. Agil area mangi. Hold that information. Or top that you tell get all top the information. So please, assume so me about ungit tabluat. It cooperate rogo yam kat mo kristial belu. Ngatial di mo tiamral mora officer ro. Bela tederegal lo dong lo stado ay idolom bru. So akpo maktiregal mo ay sutil gela sel la gela la drug testing. Very costly. Gilom dasungiar ada ol bil ma gel say makpo putila sa sumsomila lang ser ma me bay mo ngodur ada ol bil change tala mo ngil munsbel nusuida musuk mamar bulis man mladil otlay mo mam. Again, one more time, back my dolly me media la singa kali tiga media sa kalmu newspaper mi. The please again sumsomila to that news. Call us first. And the singa public information officer mabra bla bulis I intend to have one. But assume dia ke ngaka public information of bla bulis. Dia igi de ko ngaka ore de mara. Do we represent? Oi. Sulang.
Sula director ya labta. Agumbra lo hace a selgoto el close to trela a will communication among Gomlarmex lo hace call him. He's ready to respond. Ni sel direct mal close to trel message niya important direct communication of public. Akmani lo hace sel dosada wa tukara darak sa hace please help give us the information. Ayal tukara wa surveillance, video surveillance, o ingane ayal camera government. Diga diri kalau spek ayal camera business angane camera tire lulungi triya director ase ulguma gal owner am skida ayal video footage ingin diri kal se demam ase ngaral mlai magi tral get together lom ayal baby ra video ra cell area. So most importantly we need teamwork. So, Eli, kita mula sign Executive Order number 489. Tiang dam ko na saying Coordinated Border Management Working Group. Tiang dulmu uringi sera September 21 2022 Executive Order 475. Tiang le mokte karingi agora wal was for 2 years medong udar ka tiga rogul adal tira ngora a border rigid. Musel dosada a border rigid en involva Hayes Department of Transportation, involva ra Ukdaw, involva Director Pelora Airport, involva Director Targong Customs and Immigration, involva AG, involva Chibra Labor, involva Director of Public Health. Anything to do with the border, tia girel coordinated. One of the things silubia sometimes ada de oro mru la yelurere ndi de xigir communication ay effort to get so ada el stop radrak sel mesois brablur belau everybody needs to be working together. So sel sada la announceria tial group including la directora bla police amal eli etemle ase mal somam tial ol molm le it's really helped us regal enforcement issue gida khna segel togol truck cases that recently I get part to see the coordination ulem los edel release lurior so kadamre asulir amri lurerir and tial bledasani elia amla really tial mo permanent they got it 2 years until te decide was nam de kalsa mamel magalurior ndia hagumla lo ase ulet nang artia rogui amal sa semaria magalurior emlisi tial lurerir den tangari agora soal mokmus esel giret tial lurerir dara oh chairman command to co-chairs director Tarhong amen oh cabo on
good to Mr. President Mora Media welcome to our invitation and welcome coordinate border management working group extended select continue the strategies that we develop to ensure borders are well protected. So as co-chair, I'm Director Taro.
Namungil. As co-chair sa nga Director Tarong, malmol conduct monthly meeting, quarterly meeting, malmol maloro rega all government agencies will ensure I get procedures sa ma'am, policies sa ma'am, inline, lawangel sel effort, deter, protect the border. Megel makitalgar, megel illegal substances, prohibited items, ada kabel tu rabul belo. Mal masaul extended till executive order, magil mutal continue malmol kaya sew. Al ensure public misel trust tira malmol malomarat mo sale protect the border rabul belo. Degal di ura ngasule la postmaster general taraklol adlawang gamam. Misal coordinated effort al sila post office mang man lamo si mang giman na improve procedures ma technical equipment au mali ay amar hindi al ngatyang anding man lam ngatmok al sel post office megel dong lo spm exurel mga camera lol ngoseur tigal adril make sure gidel en makitel gar ma dagal girel metmul pelawa ada kabel sisem hindi Aurora malmol ngai gelderstal mo hindi malmol malkay sew I'll make sure airport seaport magel guk baby rapport travelul dira kada designate ending sebel nganya matamal lang yagi malmol malkay sew coordinator law enforcement I'll make sure gagi the borders are protected.
And I think one of the things el dodong le say, oy, say the store supply, but the other thing we need to work on a demand. Tara effort bladder within all of these agencies, get sell mandatory drug testing, el random. Say the idea was saying, mada deter adam mudagal albalo laiga kalo. But at the same time, tara lo director, I'm sure he's going to bring it up with Rubul Belau. I encourage other all be, el change yourself policy al time. Walang 6 months at probation alola eyes. Kita kasi sumatamala eyes automatic termination. See, I'm not proposing more all bill, something that we need to consider if we want to deter. Say part ng gida del smisi isi gida lurior. Ano sa mga mo AG Director Tarong.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning to everybody in the media, ministers. Yes, what Peter has said. It really puts us in a position to strengthen the CBM working group. We need to have an integrated border management working approach. So with all the agencies there, we know that whatever issues that may come about, if we lack resources, if there's an issue with costing, infrastructure, policies, laws, we address those, whether it's drugs, health, tourism in relation to what we do. So we have a very motivated group. Our focus also has been, to streamline our processes. So now we have Interpol, we have all these Asakura system for customs. We're looking at improving our efficiency and overall effectiveness at the borders. And just to let you know, President, we did conduct drug tests within our bureau. We have more officers to test, but we did have one that tested positive, and that officer has resigned. But we have worked with that one person in the past where they've gone back a second time and gone to the health. But this time around, I guess that officer, failed the test. So we are looking at, ensuring that we provide the services, and our officers need to be professional when they work. They need to adhere to all these policies. So these are things that we've been hoping to improve in terms of standards. So I think that's what I can say at this time. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Dimna segi the President Musular tema melgukme magi other sa media. I open for 1 or 2 questions and then we continue the press conference. Others.
Otherwise, as of last week, did I announce in the last press conference, Interpol is now operational. Yeah. So the database is here. We have a procedure. They ask for screening, and they can get names checked online instantly. So that helps with the whole border protection.
So, to understand, because you're coordinating, you're working together.
The project along with Vanuatu and Fiji. So we're not the only ones doing this, but it was because of COVID. We had to rearrange our business processes. Health became a priority. And as we moved out of the COVID situation, we're encouraged to find better ways to improve the services. So the entry vessels, people coming in, trade and travel facilitation, we had to make sure that people were aware of our requirements. We looked at what the current processes were. We revised the forms. We revised the procedure so that it would be simple for somebody to, if they wanted to come and visit Palau, they would understand what the requirements were. One of the things we've done is for our bureau was to create a website, put our requirements for immigration, customs, and biosecurity. We've been able to improve entry vessels. A lot of people before, they would just go get the landing permit and then not realize what the other requirements were. So immigration needed to make sure that BOA, Bureau of Aviation, issues the certificate first. PNAA, which covers the air, that they also approve the craft coming in, then immigration improves. So those processes are what we were able to build. The administrative and operational arrangements among ourselves at the border, and with labor and health, we needed to make sure that if there wasn't a law or policy, we would come together and make sure that this is what people need to do, so that there's no hiccups at the border. So we did a lot of that. We also developed a strategy plan, and this is long-term things that we need to do. When we identified ways to address issues, and there were recommendations. One recommendation was to also have a joint risk assessment center where all the agencies can operate and provide intel so that they can share that among members. So there are a number of recommendations that we gave in the strategy plan to the president, and I think that's what OEK was asking for. Can we see what the plans are? So we're not just touching on security, we're looking at tourism, labor, and our economy as well, because what we do affects, you need a holistic approach on these things. So those are just some examples. AG, if we had concerns about investigating processing cases, we would consult with the AG, so we get free advice. NEU, we had to strengthen the relationships between the post office and the police and ourselves, so we have an arrangement there. We do cross-designate people. The NEU officers, when they come, we work together. It's not one taking the lead over the other, but we developed SOPs. We have an understanding on the arrangement. So those are the things that we needed to do. So I'm happy that we have a director of public safety right now that we can work together with and address drug issues, for example, because it's important that we deal with this every month when we meet. We can't solve diabetes or the drug problem, but we certainly can look at preventive measures, identifying people before they come to Palau, and with the tools, with Asakura on cargo and trade, with Interpol and getting the right laws in place, we can make sure that we can protect Palau's, and this is a good tool.
And the new biometric scanning.
Biometrics is just another example. So,
and then I think the other one is QR code. The QR code with that was actually Ministry of Health, right?
Right,
And
right.
Human Services that helped you develop that, and now it works better than other countries.
Yes.
Palau's is one of the best.
In fact,
I
we
went to
have-
Saipan; they had a hard time.
Right.
Ours works great.
Japan was surprised when they heard that we had implemented that
Yeah.
into an arrival QR entry form. So now we're working with them on that project to develop it further, because Customs is receiving the QR code. We want to move that over to immigration. So immigration will know everything about everybody coming in beforehand. But right now, within our bureau, for example, we've been able to take immigration and customs and identified people to work in investigations to focus on intel. So the QR code, we're looking at that before the flight comes. We're looking at the manifest. But what we need to also do is make sure we have the advanced passenger information that the airlines can provide to us and the passenger records, so we can look at people. Did they buy the ticket? What are they coming here for? So that's how customs immigration works at the border, and those are the things, the other tools that we need. But I'm sure with Interpol, we are going to get hits. I'm sure of that. And those are just a few out of many things that we need to do. We need to look at improving legislation, policies, and the administrative, build on what we're currently doing. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. And tourism is also, we have somebody from tourism, also director who's in the group. We probably need to review if we need to involve any other agencies as well into the group later on, but we'll look at that. We do get people from other agencies that come, Ministry of State. We had a number of agencies that came in, even the senator that came in just to observe. So I think that our next invitation will be to the president to come in and see what we actually do, so they can get a feel of how we discuss things at the meetings. So I better stop here because I think I've talked too much over my time.
Last follow-up on that. Recent naman ako spare sa idal online, tagidal QR code mang capture mal klol information mal betal selbe desisma. A question na saying I get the local agencies and part the coordinating group para kami. I call data collect the external whales of edal ngaria anyway I call data sab elmo consolidated malbodos I mean it will provide a lot of good policy decision making tools for I think for kamamal ngaramit yaeng so then man mo to kung information is etolos pe ngarake so ngarakora how do you do that?
Island Times, there is a dashboard creator nila a month per month. It's highlighting in my Ministry of Human Health and Services. Let tira mal help para mal creator sel dashboard origin rabalu IDC at Skogi nargel balu ma IDC passengers ne laradial lara Skogi private yacht private jet military. Ministry of Health ndira mal sa ML supplement tegal comment ra kal mutal oisul mal mowi.
Actually, Director. Kung sa sige di ako ragol once the system is in place, ako iron out the processes sa information flow, and then of course instead mo start to publish historical data, right? Details sa Peter. Director by dim na sa comment mlamotel at times return other customs sa malcheck clock like tamal merula release. So before ang kadim lakal sal sisi sayid lurior ilang maral dia kay mirsel, it's like a fine tooth comb maralungin makmal maringa sulir adame director material rogul other working group paling that's the standard we need to uphold. Ngotel atit sel deberabul dilo sadra se arangar papal ada di mil dia ka check clock clear mangarang. So kata akmal nutel te ale mal maringa sulir le segi dia kumda se standard al gira del mur teringi ilang gira del gukom da sel motto der belaw egel existing la al dakadol top dar wangim sa marwa room maklingi gila sa gida direct la gira del mo omes teringi
ngomul nganyang sila government ending United Nations Development Program amne funding over 1 million amne help fund egel resources ma technical equipment el gimo spe so the tilo dragobi de mal koram ke open borders etc recover as soon as possible and the resources ma baby infrastructure equipment were down for 2 years immediately tamle identify because of COVID identify mang before seral domo le director mal makayal da director mal ela selbo director lagi mal makarsamang manggora ngai gida magkakal improvement talgi bam rule ma CCTV lagi mo musel mo help supplement egel existing equipment malisi rawre ra borde mal kadore nga sula la UNDP lang mal me close regal nga suil mera a government ma blur bela al helper gidra atagi dal integrated border management working group.
Maral tokoy gelol ko tamakara minister a health agi mlet maral lo tmaut Mr. Targong Director Targong al maral inspecta baggage ka mam makadamral amatra our frontliners are adamra malungi lurelir magiwase ka mama orrev diak tiasel mlarsel gotel ngarwavel officer president was el almong giruche kaleng mal na moklo rod arabulul was mal na moklo darax kata matra reliu malungi larngu de ichin masa Mr. Ngiray Lamasang el tarangias kalbui gal gora right hander director customs el masuba urior mang shout out to you kamal masaw na return el me urior magsabe de lo spare kau adi garige Mr. Targong say you know the marulay gal butoko lungi lurior omeseng technology is on the tips of our fingers kada amatra reliul kada mral gora in other words kada mral mo ahead tial technology ngaringi endi ako odang se garabalu ase kada marulay gal rogu lurior molmutra post office ma port I get rogu port of entry endi tuguk ngaringi tirgel guk magasail adadal marut aurior el ngara payroll ar adalol si sa brother Rax mang aktir garireng sa 2 weeks ago wase ngaringi ar baby ar adal aurior el masuga imol package email telaila o gore al sugum tamo malaringi ra post office tangaram dala post office ngaringi ya adarit mo tira kau message team tigal ada customs el either nga post office al ubang nga port al ubang nga airport makora di so kalogel wase ay gay del bato ko lungil luriol dorul ending more ar adel nga outside nga hadi al report tangara lendi ako dentrin di gureng selwase email tela la email package magadamru lay gay the lurior mang magara di ako dingel waseng gire del molngas aududir mang modiak sel temptation rar tirgal ngara tigal do spare tir ngara frontline ngara port of entry makora di so kal ngau de so mel girel say adang msulang
So we've been trying to address any concerns raised from the public with respect to corruption and rotation is one way to deal with these types of controls. Trust goes a long way, and Oike asked me the last time, "Do you trust your people?" And I said, "Well, if they're given, if they understand their roles and responsibilities, then." We should be able to ensure that such trust is given to them. But yes, I mean, we do have officers. If I go back and look at the past, in terms of corruptions, they're always going to be bribed, especially if they're desperate. So that's something aside from that. But we need to make sure that the officers we have a check and balance system there, so that they don't get tempted. I know some of them, they say they don't make enough. Maybe they have big loans and things like that. But across the board, we need to make sure that the officers are being supervised and checked all the time. We do send 2 people out to the containers. The post office, we do make sure that they follow the procedures. That's why we have SOPs. There will always be questions. I remember coming into customs the first time, and just like immigration, I was told that, hey, this officer is corrupt. What are you going to do about it? And I tell them, send me the complaints. give me the information so we can determine whether or not that's happening. So we've been able to move some people around despite any evidence of them or any charges being filed against them. But those are the things we look at. So it's, I guess, across the board, you're always going to have people who are questionable, whether they're loyal and dedicated. And we do have a lot of people who are motivated, who want to find drugs, who want to, so, but the most important thing is when we hire people, we got to make sure that they're trained. They understand their roles, that we have SOPs in place so that they follow that. If they deviate from that, then that's a problem. The officers do have a discretion to determine whether they should look more into this package. They should have that knowledge, that experience there, and it's sad to say that we had a lot of good people who went bad and they are no longer with us. But those are the things in law enforcement that we'll find. Yeah, we do look at that daily. We do have integrity and ethics manual in place that we put them through, and we need to expand that across the board. So yeah, it's important that we understand our employees very well, and with the intel that we get, we need to screen them out and make sure that, like public safety, they're not involved, and that's why drug testing, and that's why when we open packages, we make sure that there are at least 2 officers there. At the post office in the back, you'll find that when we do open a package, and the consignee is not there, and the law allows us to do that. If we open it, we don't find anything, we put a slip inside, we put a green tape that says, inspected by BCBP, and then we transfer that over to public safety, to the post office. If we need to detain that, whether it's because we're working with NEU, we're going to do a controlled delivery, then we need to make sure that post office and everybody's aware that, so that there's no concern. You need to make sure you weigh the evidence and document things, and that's what will save us from this. So I'm not surprised that when somebody, I think the last bus, when we busted somebody, the person said, "Hey, can I just give you so much?" So I think that's common. But we need to identify what are the risks. When our officers go to the field, it's a risk to inspect these containers. But why do we let people inspect containers on the field? Because the port is small. We don't have X-ray machines at the port, but we are getting X-ray machines next year. That's being funded by Japan. We are getting X-ray devices that will scan, and those are coming. We just need to make sure that we complete the facilities and everything's ready for that. So there's a lot of effort going into those preventive measures. We need to ensure that the issues raised by OEK, when we get the mail, that we have somebody there to monitor the post office when they deliver those. Peter and I was just talking this morning about how it's important to not only cover areas at the airport before, but even after, to do a sweep so that nobody takes something and dumps it in the toilet and those things. But our officers we need to make sure that they're trained, that the supervisors are aware, and we have plans in place that will address all the risks. So we don't just respond when drugs happen. We're there. We did meet with Homeland Security to see how they can help us with goods coming into Palau. So we're looking at all areas, not just with our people, but on the processes and the laws. That's why I told OEK last week, we need to pass the Customs Act, because without that, a lot of our authority gets questioned. Did I? Yeah.
Sorry, one more for Director, since I have here. Just one thing about the ASCUDA systems. Is there some importers not yet have done the training but haven't gotten their IDs? Is there a reason why it's taking so long for the IDs to come out? Because some of us are paying so much to brokers every time we get a package, and they said they're just fixing our usernames or our accounts, but it's some people have been waiting for a while.
No, that's not a problem that's been addressed to me before. my understanding is if you want to become a user, you come and get trained. And we're doing a workshop now for all our people. It's a refresher course, but anybody can come in and schedule, and we can do that. You can either see a customs broker, or if you want to become a user, come and get trained so you get authorized to have access. We had a complaint where somebody says, hey, why do I have to go to a customs broker? And then we went and looked and we said, hey, you're a user. Why can't you clear, So there shouldn't, we only have a few people who are in the Asakura team that will help develop the training. And those people are also going through trainings. We had 2 people that just went to Fiji, and end of November they're going. So if they're there, then we have to schedule and make sure that when they return. But we have 2 people that are, and we need to have more people to help manage and look at the whole system and train people. But training shouldn't be an issue. If you want to be registered or get the user ID, it's not a problem. But if you're making mistakes and errors, then you need to either get it right, or we need to take you off the list. So those are the things we're seeing, because you can't make mistakes. We can understand that a lot of people did that when they first started, but a lot of people are getting it right. So if you're a user, you've got to comply. Otherwise, that might be a problem with you getting access.
Specifically waiting for the access to they've been trained. They're waiting for an email. That's
if you give me the names, I'll go back and find out, and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what we want to hear. Okay, what are some of the problems? Because from what I understand, out of 300 some people, we only have about 290 users, active users, and a lot of them aren't they expect customs to process their entries, but they need to be the one to understand the harmonized tariff codes. They need to be the ones to process, and it's not that hard. You just need to come in and see us. So have them come and see us, or give me the name so I can follow up and get to the root of your problem and get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Vice Director, Executive Director, Election Commission, patiently mingil ngam ne first year madadung. Diga to kramil takle Director abla Police Amiral. I'm sure everybody knows and are anticipating and was a especially when it has to do with ballots. So maybe Director and somebody give us an update case, ballots in Girelger, how soon they're going to be shipped out, and all of those information. And what are the reminders and more to get other outside and mamala ballot? What are the procedures to follow? Malakal local send a ballot and mail it saying combine, things like that. Sula.
Ma'am Sula, President, Apostolul, Hamlet yang start umsodela coordination ma me ora mal ofra ora sekiondi me kumura dahil nga coordination ma urang asulem leadership rakaw en nosabela minister Aitaro minister finance ma director tarko el giblem coordinate no smooth transition legal balot el May mlera kasus lera kasus ma tutao ay gimna start el sorta legal balot start el send out absentee by afternoon lagi mo accept the walk-ins. As of yesterday, in 2,515 el request tabla to receive. Obviously, thank you. Amalas el sel el alwege ay send out ay gerro. Gimo mitlo bengela mrenga sule la postmaster etel mle reach out ma gimo mitring afternoon le coordinate el girela ay galmel el gipom send out. Agora diu clat que mortir ay sin sa kadamsada absentee. Diu clat que mortir se make sure ang notarize ay gel affidavit ter kamiu. Direct siltame en girel postmark before November 5th or on November 5th. Degal girel bulk mail, girel send el individual. Kita mal specific el ula absentee. Ngaringa instruction lo bengel ay gel paget el gibom send out. Direct malonit pasim tega time mi iwisel instruction mlakal matamala secure ko.
Statue lang.
State lang, Miguel Black tung gimnastat el pakay ke rogo la sils. Kim momitra postmaster after this coordinator masing mo nga tetele lagi mo lapel mong a walk in afternoon lagi mo accept walk in. So kaya dia mlamu laurior sa mera tuta pertiang ngam lastat laurior.
Sel da se walk-in ang tigel mor omra el waisay.
Waise Mr. President.
Malusum tamlel ding el la mosil stat el senkyo el afternoon.
Sebenarnya di mga kapirat tiket tertir ngulmay alub tuk adra patrol boat el giril motor tungwa ba ver el melo asen giril taurior el morger moro ider sel precinct tertir en sebenarnya senkyo. Dili kal mrenga sule la vice president no se el gukim coordinate mga motor da dial next week patrol boat el momela senkyo ra southwest.
Parte raureri il mom levak il mondial expense election commission.
Waise.
Sula. Dega dblo lom da sai de sei bawdo. La me balot mun il dio da chiare e rulli.
Waise.
Anuin. Dega.
Kasi kung start el mail out, gire el dated el postmark el November 5th. Mengwadi swata pol plakatak el morar adara outside el wasi let's say tamo mail den nga balot tigel ngara New York el ngura 7th. Bulwasin namo de al sabaril senkyo waise. Ngidil pol gora mo plakatak mel.
Waise mal waise.
Well, they want to mutual. I got request or absenting. La close had Andri Garia del seal request.
Malungil gare President request deadline niya 29 October 29. May gidir ka continue receive, di ka continue process and mulmutra sa gidel 29.
Mitigate rather than outside us. Email I get requested may we say?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So manera o rings. So now.
Po men miktukeles. Ngariar mla oger nga kara 2 days ago wase igel absentil plel request. Ngariya absentil sa LD more than one el specimen el album balot and more sel one el address adang sa el tena mora one el address. Leng makulla bulk mail makora diogel wase seng diungil sendak med 20 el mora imol adrese tira ulgot tamro sa ubang lengora swad al bol plakatak lel malmalta tokora senkyo
Malungil gare Jennifer request el gim receive I gim send el mora igel address el ngal maskama individual da gim send el bal the individual request I gim send el mora igel address tira provider mergama Amada gibom chegal waseng igangana man la moptokol morawanal leng sebel wan el family tasek yol botokol at agi di reminder tik mon dekal self return len dekal bal girel individual la dot tirakralla.
Okay. Dega man sula director mo sing botoka barot el game lo mage kamal di excuse te man sula ngara update mo. Pwede kasi matuka. Oh, last. Executive Director. Oh, sorry.
Why say Executive Director?
Since kadang artikel special guest ala ba di kumatele milsada kla tabasul tabasul ga special assistant ra minister udui ongara arsel digital online gaming ulo da mlaskri ilmen gora isel tilo da newspaper and I think important the clarifying the question girel sel toleng maybe bolsebel dil biskida gora update ma information al gireleng agumra lo ase gida mugula online gaming erbelaw mtiang ukran moruri minister ma special assistant kam gora di
Email for an interview.
so
Yeah.
okay.
Nakamamsulang Mr. President, ito tawe ministers ay chima media. I'd like to introduce myself. Like, I think I'm still an unknown to the media and to the people of Palau. So nga kakla tabasun niya rin sang Special Assistant Program Coordinator sa Office of Minister of Finance. Nga kakukne assign the longra at tagi the online gaming activities. So, October 7, 2024, Minister of Finance altobre a public notice almora other notified till wasim open applications for the concessions of virtual pachinko concessions, ma digits, lottery, game business. Ramam no botoka public inquiry, ramam omral wasim la transparency, so mam will provide information, background, legal framework, or tayo the online gaming. Online gaming are referred to playing games from designated digital platforms and under PNC Title 11, Section 1402, MOF is granted authority by the Office of the President to issue a concessions. La concessions include two, el virtual pachinko, two, el digits lottery game business. So in total, MOF as well issue in total of 4 concessions. So kung bali as well may apply for 2, 1 of each. So as well apply 1 el pachinko, ma 1 el digits. Dinda kalang lak the tool applications for concessions. Or they can still apply for 1 of each. So Ministry of Finance almas was saying macro opportunity for diversifying its economic growth through regulated online gaming activities. So, direct promote additional revenue mara government, direct stimulate economic growth. So, kalau kami mutul, kami offer a brief history, my background at the online gaming. So, the enabling legislation, I'm going to start with RPPL 5-45, 2000. And this was approved and signed by the former and late President Kuniwo Nakamura. Sa that time, concession fee, right, the online gaming activities for virtual pachinko, digits lottery, 2.5 million. So annual fees at $2.5 million. And it was proved unsuccessful. Literally, they apply, they not continue make up payments from Obisra Gaming. It was too steep of a price for them. Mokta say the annual fees, most need support pension or say the time. They earmarked some of the funds towards pension, PNSP, and some other special funds under the hospital. So from there, moving on to 2014, RPPL 8-21. Signed and approved by former President Chanson Toribio. 2012, why say 2012. Masal amend ni etil tangali tamne reduce. I say that 2.5 million annual fees, almost 250,000. Still timnaka applicants. Matamne move till amend ni 2014 from 250,000 almost 45,000. And from there, imnonya baby applicants apply. From our records, we have 2 applicants, say the time 2019, and those 2 applicants was Golden Dynasty, Wang Rong. Tul kombali sina. From then on, nga kama silis office minister at 2020. Golden record was these 2 companies. They were unable to continue on and provide or make payments for those $45,000 fees. So either Wang Roma, Golden Dynasty, each had a concession for 1 virtual, 1 digits. So in total, they were supposed to pay $90,000 to the government of Palau, and they were unable to pay those fees. And the reason why was because during 2020, we all know that COVID hit. And so they had to send most of their workers here in Palau back to where they reside. And when that happened, it affected their operations. They didn't continue the operations. So essentially, they were making $0 from the operations. Waise, gimne continue discussions with them, and then we had to terminate their concessions because they were unable to continue. And then from there on, we realized that we needed stringent regulations to make sure that these activities are properly monitored to ensure that no risk befalls on the people of Palau or government Palau. So right now, maldir kami pa sa regulations. President Surang namni approve egal vessel regulations sa April 22, 2024. So before, the way it was conducted was that these concessions were being issued in a hidden manner. Kadam na dovnyet issue egal concessions. But el time kama mamle issue a public notice, so it's more transparent. Wase kama open town marugol interested companies or individuals. So they say that one a clear difference. Mang gadi say this agi continue lorelo bingala FIC ma FIU. Mong yung continue lorelo bingala HL make sure wase ga the regulations, procedures are all secure and safe for the people of Palau. So already state one section of regulations just to ensure the people of Palau was the operations of online gaming are strictly prohibited to the citizens of Palau. So even though nganya operations ongoing Palau, nganya provisions the regulations, so it prohibits and blocks access to the online gaming websites. So sumukabisa da Palau doesn't access. And if you're a citizen, you're prohibited from even participating in these activities. Mukha di the president the update online gaming.
Jura tabsule. And thank you for returning to Palau.
Thank you.
Maise. Maklo amral mura outside there bela mu kwasa samarir trial lilut telme. Shula.
Maybe just to our interview here. First of all, tell gaming, as you saying, go back to 2000. Even 2000 to 2012, 2014, technology, access to internet was completely different. Man, what a real time. My understanding the part wala pachingo is an online game where the peudo it's almost like a gambling, like a slot machine kind of what the type of gambling. Hindi all time ang ngaringi whole world of e-gaming which is in yakal. I don't know, fall within till I get the licensing process ng ngaringi malubeng hindi a question lang say I get the license and issue lang. First of all, like andir ka valid games andir ka ngaringi alube ka mention yourself part the regulation prohibit the other way allow. Given the change of technology, may e-gaming opportunities na all time, gambling, namo it's a different business models. Ngara tell announcement mo to first of all, sing ngarang bo ngara at lelen mo to ngara in terms ra I get business interested, may get regulations sa malubing ikel card rails mall all time and mo prevent let's say gambling. Ya ongerong esel te alal ngaring ang lol tirak legal kuk ngaring technology makara incorporate ring lo hospital ngaring all time. Alak alwi de sel definition da gaming at sila amal broad.
Thank you for the question. So interpretation of e-gaming are essentially gamers who play maybe games on gaming consoles like the PlayStation 5, the Xbox, and PCs. The reason why it's e-gaming is because they're playing remotely from their own desktop and their own consoles. And the only way that they're making money off of that is by competing professionally in worldwide events. Or they monetize they stream their games online. Marado o Mr. Tilo game.
Esports conducting.
Yes. We also conducted an esports tournament, which was the first ever esports tournament at Palau, and where we kind of showcased the wasing interested players here in Palau. So real maybe take their e-gaming to the next level and maybe monetize their skill level. So say that I want to explore ni, but e-gaming is not covered under online gaming. Online gaming, I might cover a virtual pachinko, my digits lottery, and nothing surpassing that. So, and then to your question about guardrails, I give more real PNCC make sure I have firewalls in place. Mandaka other below, and access to and mertagi online gaming websites. Also, reporting mechanisms or operators. Report the Merkaman was what have you done to make sure that these guardrails continue to be in place. So, steps that we've taken.
And I think the other one, and the question I say, with all the new technology, I'm interested to begin with. Maybe you can share saying them.
I say, unfortunately, nga familiar popularity of online gaming. I'm more familiar with e-gaming. That's more in tune with my generation. But ever since we opened the notice, we have 3 potential interests. So maybe somewhere where they come from, and they can include interest like I give online gaming. Maybe under further review, I can discover what's the real interest in these spaces.
The one clarification, sel nga rala ang required til may survey law?
Sel rumes rala.
Principal place of business on Palau. Question is required in principal place of business here or?
Why say? Sel rumes rala, they're required to have a license and permits and registered here in Palau. So yes, they are required to be based here in Palau.
And that's good. So they provide employment, provide a tax base and mara. And I think close to Treloruri Minister Tabsula, they want to make sure that the process is transparent. And we vet and make sure that we get legitimate companies that we can work with. I get 2019, I get dimle chubure rogo, and then they never pay their license certificate. That's why we terminated. So hopefully, if these are legitimate, go through the vetting process and then maybe viable. But you're correct. The world is changing, so a value this business is maybe becoming obsolete.
Pwede point out malsuko mo ngay say idang giral mo nga besala. I mean, kita mal di operate with existing sila
20 years ago.
lang. Yeah. Kung experience nga kay previous algong bali, lula ba license, ay game le set up algong bali relaw. Yeah. So they're registered and licensed here in Palau, they operate. Sulang.
Okay.
President Comic, may ang kagamla opener ngi mangmo o sisiwa sen di fora top tool digital matul virtual etio sisiwa ara ladang melmon mel 45 patang why say yeah
Sengar alla. Mama di falor alla. Gira dramen dralla. And I think that's, something maybe through this process we can discover as man masarada apply. Maybe we need to revise the law. These are things that we need to evaluate. It's true. If you want it, this is the way it's going to be done. But I think it also gives us an opportunity to do a review. So maybe it needs to be revised. So, okay, sulat tapos sulat. Sumore, then you're excused also. Of course, since last press conference, Ms. Rakla, Timor Hawaii, same private trip, Timor campaign, and of course, kita Almong, the Saradong Angel Admiral Samuel Paparo, Angel Commander Indo-PACOM, asked for an opportunity to visit. So while I was there, I went to see him. Silta Miguel Lieutenant General Joshua Reed was also there. Martir Raul Adal. Just, of course, as a courtesy call, but more importantly, Malaysia yourself the will of course, Indo-PACOM. Just this week, of course, I think Malaysia High Mars exercise Rablur Palau. Lieutenant General Joshua Reed was just here. He was here on Tuesday morning, Monday, Tuesday. When they said touch base, discuss and yeah, total activities Rablur. But like that, I'm invited to say, Luton may talk there, may visit, exercise, yeah, of course, and man help para private sector Rablur Palau. Dari kami natin lang mestria ng skura Hawaii. Of course, dari kami natin lang kora o golf. Lam tirar bigar Hawaii mang tiga man betul golf. Minister Matura nam tiga sa tiga. Dia kalau ulat to golf course kita ada berada bodo golf course Minister Matura mengukti ka kadang natin we need more practice. The legal otherwise was WIA is continuing its disbursement Ludo. As of October 11, they've already dispersed 5.2 million. And 2.2 million will be dispersed this month, and of course the rest in the coming months. So, and how timely to get it out during the holidays. The legal otherwise was in this past week, will ISIL get la Tora tourism. Mang baiso ka mga tala sa Minister of Natur, mo ay sa igel tablo maklo announcement, gire la skogil merablur belo.
Sula Presidente malungil total mar other bela rogo to kunya da media. Mang last week kamle almost the kamal mongil announce tel to UA. The following day, Thursday, officially UA announce. Was a lururing president, of course, government ramrigel, a joint effort. Finally, after a year, a decision was a next summer schedule. Morning 2 flights a week, Narital Merbelao, Lovengela UA. This is a 737-800 or a 737 MAX 8 aircraft. Not more summer schedule next year, no more April. And it's twice a week, flying from Narita. Aklo to telel self flight Leilani. Connect tergid maragil rogul UA flights ng Amerigel, ma Europe, ma Asia. Mang namganga asim legid amdengel was yagot Turkey market tergid ashabal. Yagot merengil ada ashabal merbela wadakal sorry regel one stop. El Alzheimer adra shaban megil mo falan mora Taiwan. It required till lose 2 days. Lang 1 day kira siya Taiwan eme, 1 day on the return. What this will do, allow again 3 to 5 to 7 day vacations. The direct. Nang modeka tutele lo bolsto brava birabulu. Agi mo kotay ra family to kuni. Lang expense ra hotel ma kal mga ra trabulu di kan merbelaw. Ang erung mal merungudel announce was a sell tomodorngi pong Palau Paradise Express se imamadeng mo Air Nugini e mon take over nga Air Nauru just el Alsils in malungil arungudel announce was a extended another year mo 2025 el dobring asule la government of Australia ma president el persistence niya and I guess I have to say this and Dilor Ambassador Turner was a make the impossible possible. They announced this morning it was a Qantas a Mosweb will take over regular flight Brisbane and Merbelao. And what's good about that flight air now room leungil the global reach ringi. So what this flight with Qantas will do, ang partner ng Alaskan Airlines, American Airlines, Cathay Pacific, China Airlines, JAL, Jetstar. Kotol lungiringi termi lomsin del mo wakal mo conference lagi de Fiji. Anamo sabi edel di transit through Brisbane. El dia kabom to del mo change at terminal el dia kamo laba clock liul. Imama den gere mal to de ma clock le mo check in at Tarabasho. Elang na connect ringi namo seamless ay the transfer. Ediregal open raga guk reacher within Australia ma New Zealand. Mansira adrogul ngaragel kakrosel series ragel tablol bulu el swebgal merbelaw. Matya tara imo ragel klong yaw namgangi ako klon magi trasaw Pacific el merigit. Ma kun morsegi de presidente mani ako rangi dilger kada.
The so the hotel tell mal dimra sulala. First of all, Air Niugini. Kontak damra sula government of Australia. Idregan mal mrega sula Air Niugini nebith. So they were the first to provide the service. Ang yano idregan mrega sula government ma Air Nauru. Ra uk tirigel semle urungul uk no ngerul bide mrego ngutial contract continue tial. But I think always the effort has been how do we continue to improve the service, access more markets. Advantage quantas ay minister. It will connect every city al Serabro Australia. It will connect New Zealand and Mera. Ama ay Blura Pacific el Mera Brisbane and Arce Merbelaw. Very similar to what United can do. El United will look beyond the traffic at Tokyo Merbelaw. It will allow them el fidra major cities they want stop Tokyo and their regular service, you know, how do we establish a regular service from these major carriers that have mileage programs? Travel on mileage. Of course, that's one of the advantages. Mileage earn a miles. New Zealand and Australia, but of course they are part of one world. So it's American Airlines and Brisbane. I mean, these are going to be options that we're going to have. So exciting news, and I just want to thank Air Nauru for really their commitment. Beginning to take the loss in Palau. Paradise Express, PPE. Anyway, questions, sure.
Understanding na kamla mo tri nemle luginin mo. Now rule lang niya. Awan dahil it's also an effort to go bring a tourism Australian me. Ngayon nga uriyor siya na kukuha na tourism mo sa mga na promote mobile masaya dahil flight me.
So lang wak lam halungil ger. Yes, marklonges wa kadere lawring la Australian government. Le fund ra fam tour gi del mong. Numlarnya other hotel tiang ma tour operators tiang. El Australia funded by Australian government. Through PVA, ngiti tri ra kakarosal other mlom tamit ra kakarosal agencies, makarosal el tour operators say ma hotels. Mangarnya urior al malasam both ways. Ton ngase ra other mong. Nguk other bela ngartel mo marangara Asia mo marangar selmi. Mategi el flight amnam ngisel asim ra ko other ngara kwam tangara Taiwan through Palau mora. I give the Australia ma and vice versa. Munganya clone agency direct blad higher tier lol nga seorgi del lol market ra gider say kadre lo renga sule la Air Nauru president de sera temir and they put a lot of effort into marketing material assigns rabela or alcela train alcela bus and they went to a lot of media efforts lol trarbela. I believe they're going to compete in the rakren certif mutamo stable fly. So hopefully they are able to flights and they galungil. They kan ya to President Kingsil was a tell UA flight ranari tal mi level affect resel effort tergi del malara jal. I don't believe that. The problem self flight although they promise kisida le gorgar pumo fly, it's a charter flight. Give them a regular flight. So hopefully this will actually trigger right the jal mo fly regular. More competition, more fares.
Yeah.
One more, hindi ako update one of the other largest market na Korea.
Sulang wak lang mahal illegal garim. Effort lo magala Korea mahal ngaringi. As you know, pre-COVID, I'm learning 4 flights. 2 Asiana, 2 Korean Airlines. Although other go bentrir, partner gidra Sojits, el direct partner gidra lo ngaseur gidra tel flight ra UA. Ongoing efforts el modadu agel flights out of Korea. ding dire kalsal momar mong kahala dong iltelgip ding ngani audio lorun nga Peter ma Minister Obiang ma partner gidra piak al moda durtir sojit ataraklol gombalil plada higher til Gorawal ngasyor gidra both the Japan market ma Korean markets.
Gora di ulmo iltial flight ta Singapore Airlines se guk mlamo dian se bemel gora smo di silwasi sin se bel momel mol.
Sulajen Singapore is a big market al direct. Sell effort actually it was done by a private entity. Somehow adim nakal sal CC a marketing effort certir nga ulundi ulumu le direct al mosoro. Din direct nganya ongoing discussions loban tri ra Kakarosal Airlines. As you know, Jetstar now is a partner tel Qantas mkadamal molmal lo sigal du ule lang reconnect sa gidal flight. Din direct stoba efforts sa gidal wagi logo president. Kadamla sa connect gidal marogul key markets lo open up gidal opportunities.
And there's ongoing discussions to sign an air services agreement to Gela Qatar. Ma direct air services agreement to Bangela Ablura India. So one of the things I told the United, I said Ablura Bela kasi kama malmol maldi invite tarogul skogin merablur Bela. You either going to be ahead or you're going to be behind. Taking the risk and starting. In fact, I said New York, Kurt Campbell, I say, no, I'm pushing them for 4 flights a week, and they got 2, more 4. So, but we have to think big, and no, I said we have an amazing destination. One of the important reasons why, for example, sa flight to Tokyo access most millionaires rabulad, ang rabulad amrigan. Per capita, ukputo millionaires tira rabulad amrigan is Australia. So accessing Aigal markets, because we talk about high-end market, tax whatever. At the end of the day, we want the high-end market that understands the value of destination and want to contribute to yes, Singapore would be good, probably a regular carrier. See that's what we need to target, like Singapore Airlines. That's eventually that's what you want. It's hard for these small carriers. Everybody wants to use their mileage, so it's hard for them.
Since shout out tal morakau mati merkomil mlosob ilgut maklitial flight tra UL ra talong la siapal mabela makora di wonder wase ngla orang ngaringya alta tu lopangela UL wase ngla asab elongang taara la ferti ra talong la kwam mabela leng tiadi 1 hour 45 minutes since ngora malungi laurelem lobangela government tamrigel ma UA maybe asap emel ko malia alda do ilgirela arala skogir gidele nganya puigra Germany ma couple to ngang amru legal cheaper sele Germany brand selbos BOSCA actually akmle mit 30 eli engo ay selwase minister ngira lwaseng gil ngang awal dilul around trip ticket tangi el memili di 2 weeks ngara vacation wasakti dimlahal suwa kal ngusel breakfast lobangela hotel leng coster nga ka $30 eats nga mabiig matigal terun nga legek mang ditil tewang walbol $120 yalger dara airport ang waseng malulisel di malay te Director Peter Paloy goramil gold tial arrival ngania adel doore tiramle rikle door osiga taxi ngania ruba kalokon dilusori o t-shirt te wase nga has gegarel mlay o sensab egalot ta kamiw and then wase kamama la travel marahuriping magere tablol wase ko mo kargik ngay tigel ko sorry make money overcharge mangwase malungi lablumiw di ko to ko recommend wase ulgum mornya sign wase ngarinya designated el basura taxi mo sab mayul remula Aigal mlara taxi al ubang Uber, el ngaya stiger, maki mokora field safe, el ngaya adama malguksel lamay, en arsalira actually tamlar tiara last year, mle recommend their vela, wase, by the mo ora ticket edim book online rather than getting the package ling maltakay. Mangora di so al si share sel wase, talgivel di malaita airport, hopefully sab edel gut maklil gora mo bright, ngaya mal designated del basyo el girar taxi mesel to den tomor say makora di share sel dire
Kamaran sulang, yes. Pwede laita bolo sa udang Peter di taxi bogi mo sa udang ni. Agi actually gimran mo dadur tiga ada taxi elang bra amra ringin di makasar ada taxi elang. Hindi ada kabol tede. Mong really lengsel night market tengahnya taxi service ilgi morungi. Ende kung clear dengan imon maralung la taxi ring alfar de la bile la bola taxi ring di tiga teru kiba mo dadur tir. Yung although do lihat mo morning yung morning win uniform tier will designated area, so we will work on that. Solar will comment.
If I may suggest, last of edel guk recommend el morar app el start the Uber service el loader lobanggela PVA el guk korasay de ludo del dim liril Uber and Grab el wamrigel mong akora di share say.
Medic share mo yes ang tilang as edel moment sir ni di part sel pilot project lorong dalbas eventually kad mo adra bus el moras airport. So it's a slow sort of process. Hopefully by January and sabedam la they will include their sel mo part router talbas. So hani aklul da sul girel.
Madadi ay gadi last el tablo adi sokal share qotula mal appreciate the success ra tele one leap program. They just finished a program KES el Miguel Valeria Rungulbay el ngara DJJ ma NEA officers ma other VPS el tira during intercession not maktir mar parents mrugo really a program el ukirana la tokora mental health and teaching them life skills, but more importantly making the right choices. Le yida like themselves tell tora adrax, we have to start helping them get away and make the right choices. So mental health, you don't solve your problems by taking drugs. And the problem is always going to be there and it get worse. So one lip at the NGO, but effort look on the prevention side. First, the program are bullies. Diregal otherwise was at the October 10, I'm like el handover, or sell el vessel, el vilas el earth, and not other ablilio. No sé del attending la of course ambassador Taiwan, Governor Ablilio, Speaker Ragamel, ma diregal Alex Nganaira, ngas mas ratatiro. Lastly, and this other el mutel tealem sa Minister of State en gadrigam lem la blura Taiwan. Din so mutel tealem al sel temlong email safe. Digidam la meng sel el gora really blura Sina, el mora blura Taiwan al mlo madilir maskogir tilu kritel imol bulu. Kida malomral wasi kida gira del malmol malmalisi era free and open Indo-Pacific. The other malmol malmalisi era abuda. Sel al treteler adrasina goes against rule of law, goes against peace and security. Makatamal kandemeri. Malmol malongit rasa malmol malngari abuda radol Taiwan Strait. Kida amdanga sa andi kangod ngarbab engil tol wabuda. El mora sabakle laknar ma diregal el lamot maklela ay galbalwad kadangal tangat tenem lamo kamangal time ngari abudo tial Pacific modolit molmod malwaise Minister of State kadimom share last amro liu
Señor Presidente, digal mal saula Muskate alom tera kauma governmental belal murtele momong 113 years ra independence ra blura Taiwan. Tamal appreciate the presence ra representation of Belau. Mong mal mo feel tel del wilra gidma other Taiwan. Amal Malaysia experience tu talmar president mak cabinet. Prime Minister Tuvalu Amlong. Sel the protocol at the rank according to etom overwhelm mo to belamlo before Tuvalu. Nga di minister level. Uger tal at mamet mase. Ada ngarele maldi orang sa tiam sa mo over kami. Masigi do ti sel the luil radong lela bela ma Taiwan. So akman fortunate to experience sa te al. Emhamle wila celebration, of course, said la Moshe's statement to President Lai. It was a very interesting statement. First, mal mereka sulir adra blue, ongeru their position Taiwan Strait. Number 3, semleot the global statement niya mal promote youth president. They had almost 20 minutes of parade youth. Arngal gimle ngar Taiwan nora boxing gold medal. Their volleyball teams, the government of Taiwan are looking into the future. I'm impressed. The president of the government and of course, he went to the presidential palace. I was escorted by the deputy prime minister, which is probably the number 2 highest ranking other government of Taiwan. So it was a privilege and an honor to be escorted like abang amao no medical samples ragal sa the tel program gora ulo tisel the will bela ma Taiwan how much they will appreciate it, you know, because we always stand for them international regional organizations so they have gulak mo those peanges so di sa lonya president we believe and trust masaya ar other way will support the rule of law ma peace rabul other Akbalangal tangateling delegation ng mamamlo nga amnanya Governor Palau ramal kayo delegate ramal kayo futo sa tadlay kayo the legislature chief ngirengas Filiani Thomas ambassador Orum ulbangyadal mo staffer adar ramal kayo at JB amlo ngaleongael Walter tigagidya ulbangyakal mura tel celebration bolmerek segi da kuk mla company tin mura Taichung mo witness governor amal kyo mira Taichung sign di pa sister city arrangements mal mla arrangement meeting we got to meet investors from Taichung late yesterday late message from Taichung the proposal merbelaw mura mal kyo with 60 potential investors. After that 1-hour meeting, exchanges, so they're interested to come. It for possible investments. It was a fruitful visit. Last appropriate activity kama went to Pinto. Kung recall it together other indigenous people na tira may mga limang masilbelaw. Tamle invite rawal mo tour cultural village ma kamama dilo mdax mo sige di mo tour maral. But the whole village marmare the tira amlen me mugar kamam obang kamam for the half a day. Inlamo so go make cultural ties with Malgayok state. So all in all man me fruitful of visitor kamam. Man me ngilom lam makmal me sulela president. Yes, I was aware masin. Ay di sila dial mas ko gimlir ka Taiwan di sel sumanya si klaw mararko. Marolela bud. Even in Taiwan, dim lang ang feel masin there is a big threat to Malaysia ka Taiwan. None. Our other sel blue was business as usual. Makmal me sulir other Taiwan lo sabil ko mugar ka ma me make all the arrangements. Makmal me ngila umbrella president and rest assured mas Taiwan adi ka mal di malmol ma support tagida from our kumran sulang.
Sila minister Sadar Aryu de Guadi Sogal update according sa kasus PNOC am calling all athletes el girel tial maral mel mini games. Igidam dinga say not only are we preparing a lot of facilities, during it's one of the largest budgets girel la Tora Sports. Legada dirigalo maral wase girel milicia tigal ngalagya mang taken excel in sports. Dirigalo dil Tora school. Tora sports mang demonstrate opportunity. I know Minister Matura Uxel and Ministry yang anisel gel chivra youth and create activities, but more importantly finding them good job opportunities helper ti looks me already albera blur bela mga you know mo nalut sila ngartela mga tapasul ma tilon mga se tigidar ngaya se they're coming back and we want to see more sila kara hawayak man mo dur tigal nalgedro ase ali go malas kori undi go merme de gadi martia mga damral di mga sula dios al klangal tangat tani idre al mal sado utial teal mo mga sulir trigaluka tira public servants tiran mashori dra bekal sils التوبت سلسلة تيري الالسيلز. So a very special happy birthday. Mora Keith Sungyama ngangar sel embassy gidra Manila. Oy, consular gidra. Mabuhay. Madrigal Mais ngira ungil nga labor compliance minister natul. Direga ngaria Benedict Quintaro ngangara juvenile justice ra MOJ. Madrigal Lola Koshiba ngangara CHE community health clinic ng MHHS, ma Lovelyn Ngual, kadri ka ng MHHS, Human Services. So, happy birthday. Adios sila tangat tertigal tukobel sil tira al sil, tertigal ukmlo birthday tira al week. Marbek kal other belaw. Ma kita belwadra blur belaw, ma next podcast maybe in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Sula. Another record, almost 2 hours again. Dikman. Dia para yimran mga sulim. Not only the questions, madri kat suggestion as how we have to improve. Government together so sula.